Welcome back to the next part of the video, creating a 2D platformer game. First part, we obviously got our character, we've got our tile maps sorted out, and we also got the player input system implemented in as well as getting our idle just running over in a loop. So if I press play, you can see that our idle is just running in a loop. We do have our movement, but the first thing we want to do first is get that running, actually working with our player. So if I click on player here, you can see the idle running through. If I click on that again, you can see that I'm running through, but we don't have our jump yet, which we're going to implement today with our animation states, as well as getting our running working, and we'll look at Cinemachine as well as our camera implementation. So we've got an actual camera moving and following with our player. Cool. So what we need to do first is call up this animator because we're not discussing any of the parameters. So is running. We need to talk about this transition and talking about this condition here. So we're going to now write this into code of when we want this to in fact happen. We want this to happen when we move. So if we jump onto project, we jump into our script, and I think I have that already here. There we go. First thing we want to do is call up the animator up the top here. So we're going to just say animator, that will pop up, and we'll just call this anim as just a short for animation. And then here we are going to write anim equals get component, because we need to grab the component itself, and that component is obviously the animator. There we go. Fantastic. Cool. So now we've grabbed the actual component. The component itself is already on the player. We just need to call it up within the code. So now what we need to do within our run script, what we can do is we are going to utilize our ball of horizontal speed from our flip sprite. So this is exactly what we're going to be doing. So with our movement is switching and flipping our sprite. Well, this is we want that to happen with our run animation as well. So what we're going to do is actually take this. You shouldn't really copy and paste, but we're going to be naughty for now. Copy and paste that in because that's the exact line that we want, and it doesn't matter that we've called it player horizontal speed because that's exactly what it's doing. And then under that we are going to set the animation ball. So we go anim, which calls up our animator. Remember that parameter was a ball, so we set the ball, and we need to find the correct name. So we need to do a quotation of is running, and as you can see, I've got my unique spelling there of is running. So if I jump back into Unity, you can see on my animator, my parameter of is running here. I'll shake the mouse so it goes big. There we go. My parameter of is running is here. So you need to call this up exactly how it's spelt within the editor. So let's jump back to this script. So we've got is running, and then we can state that is running is only going to work with the player horizontal speed. We can semicolon that, and we can save that script. And once we've done that, we can jump back into Unity, let that compile. Lovely, lovely. Hopefully it's not going to be slow. Press play. Read the scripts, and when we move our player, you can see we're now flipping and running, and we can see that from the animator down here where we're just in idle until we go into our game, and you can see that run animation working really, really nice. And it's got quite a nice flow to it as well with our character animations. Cool, lovely. So the next thing we need to work on, remember to save your game, is the jump function. So we need to create a new method called onJump. So let's jump into our script, and then let's start off with creating a public float. Let's create a public float up here, so we can say public float, and we can call this jump speed. So just like our run speed, we'll have jump speed, and we can equal this to 5 on our float. Then down here, we can create a new function for our void on jump. And our void on jump, we'll get some curly brackets for that, is an input press, just like our on move. So we're going to say input value. Oh, where's my arrows? Input value, and again we'll just call this value because that will be the button. So the value is representative of the button. So we need to say if we press the spacebar button, which we've already done with our key bindings in the previous video. So we need to say value dot is pressed. So if value is pressed, what's going to happen? Well, what we're going to do is our velocity is going to change on the y-axis. So we're going to say our velocity So our rigid body velocity is going to plus equals a new vector 2. So a new position for our vector 2, which is going to be our x and y. Our x, we're going to say do nothing at all at 0 f. But obviously we've created that parameter for jump speed, so we can add our jump speed up in here as well. Or really maybe jump height, but let's go for it now. Let's go for jump speed, and we can jump back into Unity. And what we'll find, if we go to our player, let's have a quick look at the rigid body. So my rigid body's gravity scale is currently on 8. I'll put it back to default, and I'll also change this back to default as well. And we will change those bits in a minute. I'll just explain why. So if we press play, we can see, and if I press spacebar on my jump, once my character lands, boom. So see, we have this weird floaty problem, and then we can jump forever, which isn't great. So we need to define how to jump, because at the moment we can jump constantly and wherever. It doesn't matter, even if we're in the sky, in the ground, it doesn't matter, we can jump forever. So what we need to do, number one, is that's not a bad jump. The gravity isn't great. We can change the gravity scale to, I'm going to change that to 8 here, see if that improves it. Oh no, it's very strong there, the gravity, so change it to 6 and click back on. Still quite strong, we have to press it a lot of times. Let's see if we can fix those values. Okay, so let's go and fix this code first. Actually, no, let's actually explain what's happening here. So what we're going to do is change our jump value. I'm going to change that to 6. And we're going to have our continuous detection, our collision detection on continuous. So it's continuously looking for collisions. And that's exactly what we're looking for. I was clapping just to represent the actual collisions happening with the ground. So once we've done that, we need to talk to our capsule collider and represent and bring that up to essentially bring into our jump value. Okay, so first things first is that we're going to assign, I may have already done it, but if we look at grid, go to our tile platform, and you can see that I've got the layer of ground. So what we can do, if you don't have the layer of ground, what you can do is go to add layer, and it doesn't matter what layer it is, what number it is, and you can say, you can literally go, so mine will look like this. We won't have a layer, so I can just type in ground, press enter, click back on my tile platform, and then you can set the layer to ground. So at the moment it's on ignore raycast, and I'll just change that to ground, and we can save that. So we can now bring this up within our code to say, hey, when we are on the ground, that's when we can jump, and that will hopefully stop our continuous jumping in the air. Cool, right, so let's quickly jump back into our code. Let's go to our jump value here. Or actually, let's talk about that capsule collider, because we're going to talk about that collision as well first of all. And because the reason why we're bringing up the capsule collider, because that is what's actually touching the ground. So let's go capsule. Remember, it's capsule collider 2D as well, and we'll call this CC just for capsule collider. And then once again, just like the animator, we have to call this up within our script. So CC is our capsule collider 2D, semicolon. Quickly save that, and then within our script, within jump, what we can say, we can add this underneath as well of our if value. We can say, or should we do it on top? Yeah, let's do it on top just in case. So if we are not touching, or our capsule collider does not is touching, is touching layers. Let's add that. That should be okay. Is touching layers, and then we can say layer mask, and we need to say .get mask, and that mask we need to grab in the brackets is ground. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So what's going to happen? Well, we're going to return. We're just going to go back to what we were doing, and that won't allow us to jump. So if we are touching, or if we are not touching the ground, what can we do? Well, we just go back to how we was. We won't be allowed to jump. Cool. So if we save this, this should sort out our jump issue. Go back into Unity and that will compile the script. Because my gravity is on quite strong, I'm just going to have a quick look at that gravity once again. Where is it? So my gravity is on a scale of 6. I may change that to between 6 and 8. I am going to change my player jump speed to 20. Let's change that to 20, change that to possibly 8. Quickly save those settings. Hopefully you've got the jump involved. Got no errors. It's going to still run, and my jump, there we go. That's a good looking jump. Cool. And now we can't, if I keep smashing, you can hear me smashing the spacebar. We can hear that working all nice and good, lovely. We've got a functioning jump with our, can you see that? Do we see that sticking there? That's not good. We'll fix that in just a moment. First, we'll get this camera moving. So what we're going to do is we're going to save our game, first of all. And the next thing we're going to do is go and grab Cinemachine. So what we're going to do, we'll go up to Window. That might be cut out of this video, but you go up to Window, go to Package Manager. Make sure under your packages you're on Unity Registry, and then I'm just going to type Cine, and that should bring up, there we go, Cinemachine, and click Install. So Cinemachine is essentially a really cool dynamic camera operating package that allows you to create cutscenes as well as really simple 2D movement cameras without any code or scripting. And I thought that would be a good idea to add it onto this pack. Cool, lovely, fantastic. And so you know when Cinemachine is installed because it will say remove at the bottom. So we can close that package. Now we've done that, we can right click within our hierarchy and either go to Cinemachine and choose virtual camera. Or you can go up here as well, you can go to game object, go to Cinemachine, and you can go to virtual camera. So it's entirely up to you. Click on virtual camera and you'll get something called CM, so Cinemachine Virtual Camera 1. I'm going to rename this to Follow Camera because it's going to follow my player. All good. Then what we can do on our follow camera, we've got some bits that we need to do. Under the Cinemachine virtual camera section, which is the component here, it's only one component. Under the body, we can go to, so body, from transposer, we can change this to a framing transposer, so we can see how our game is framed. So if we go into here, we should be able to go into our camera. Should give us a frame. Interesting. Maybe, oh, because I haven't selected the what we need to select. So under follow, we need to select the player. So I'm going to click and drag the player into follow. That'd be lovely. And then that should center the camera. There we go, center the camera. So the player is now in the middle of our game. That is lovely. That is good. Cool, that looks nice and tidy in there. Cool, cool. Lovely. So with our, if we press play on our game, this should automatically follow. There we go. And as you can see, the camera is already following and focused on our player. Easy as that. Really, really nice Cinemachine. Cool. So we can change some framing here. So we come out of our game. Let's go into follow camera for our virtual camera. Let's just go do nothing with aim. And what we can do is adjust the body. So under body, we've got all of these options. And we can adjust the dead zone width and height. So where is dead zone? dead zone width and height. I'm going to change those to 0.1 and 0.1. Hopefully maybe in scene. There we go, it's a bit more focused. And what this will allow is for our camera to allow a bit of movement between our cameras. Usually you get this kind of Cinemachine view. I don't know why it's not popping up today, which is really weird. I don't know if I've done something with my gizmos. I may have done. Oh no, it's on there. It should be all on there. That's really odd. Anyway, that's okay. So I've changed my dead zones. You can have a play with this, and hopefully you've got the preview screen that's a lot better than mine, that I actually have it. And then I'm going to change my Y dampening to 5. So I can change it to 5. And what essentially this is, just changes a bit of a non-shaky camera. So when my player moves, I can actually got a bit of a less of a jumpy camera. My camera's only dampening and dampened that jump. So if I suddenly go onto my dampening here, and then change underbody, change dampening from 5 back to 1, we can see if I click back into my game, that camera's got a lot more bounce. You might like that, but I think it could, just looks a bit annoying for me. So I'll change my dampening back to 5, which will lessen that jump, that kind of jump, and kind of give me more of a realistic kind of camera view bounce on my player. Lovely, lovely. Happy with that. Cool, cool, cool. So once we have done that, we can also, if you want to zoom into your player as well, I'm not really too fussed about this view at the moment. You can go into ortho lens size and zoom in or zoom out of your player if you wish. I'm going to go back to default, which I think was 5, and I'm quite happy with that, but you can change that if you want. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is, the last thing, if I play my game, I think we've still got that sticking issue. So I'll just do this before we end the video. We've got this weird, sticking issue, which is just, does not look cool. So what we're going to do is come out of our game, go into project, and we're going to go to assets and create a new folder called materials, making sure I haven't got one already. So create, go up to folder, and I'll call this materials. Double click into materials, we then can right click, go to create, go to 2D, and then we're going to look for a physics material 2D. There we go. And I can call this no friction. Cool, lovely. And so pretty much that's the whole point. We have friction between our two colliders, and we have to create a material to essentially destroy that friction or get rid of it. So at the moment our friction is at 0.4. We're going to set that to 0 on the friction. Click that, Command or Control S to save. And then what we can do is we can go on our player, go scroll down to the collider, so the Capsule Collider 2D, and you'll see something called Material, Physics Material 2D, and we can drop and drag that material right in there. Lovely, fantastic. And what this will do, if I save and press play, we shouldn't have any kind, saying that, let's have a look, give it a test, jump, run and jump, dump. Yep, I can't jump. As you can see, I can't jump or stick on there at all. That's working really, really well. I'm really happy with this. Cool. Lovely, the friction's working. Cool. Next video, we'll look at creating enemies, destroying those enemies, and we'll also look at a health system for our main player as well. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you very, very soon.